Thanks for staying with us here on STL TV Live. I'd like to welcome Shane Perrin to the show. Shane is a professional paddleboarder and the owner of SUP St. Louis. Shane, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Is SUP a noun or is it a verb? Is it a paddle boarding or is it paddle boarder? What is it?
It kind of gets, it's all interchangeable, so it kind of depends, I guess, where you're at, location-wise. But SUP, SUP, it all kind of goes together. Just don't call it soup. Everyone does that. It's like, just please don't.
What made you start a company to teach stand-up paddleboarding?
Well, being in the Midwest, being landlocked, no one thinks of stand-up paddleboarding. It's very coastal. You know, the West Coast dominated. The Florida, Texas, it kind of worked its way up the East Coast. I found it, probably about 8 years ago, and I started stand-up paddling in my canoe because you couldn't get one out here. Mm-hmm. And then pretty much the way I looked at it, I wanted to kind of bring mass attention to it. Didn't really have a way to do it. So what happened in the fall of 2011, I did this long 340-mile race on a stand-up paddleboard, the only stand-up paddleboarder out there. And that was kind of hey, this is kind of something that happens, different locations, and it can happen here.
Are there places to do stand-up paddleboarding here in the St. Louis region?
And that's just it. People didn't realize, although we're landlocked, there's so many lakes, there's so many gorgeous rivers, and that's really where now the Midwest explosion is happening, is because of that.
What else do you want people out there to know about stand-up paddleboarding besides the paddling community?
Well, pretty much what I try to tell everybody, it's very inclusive. I won't say it's all inclusive, but we have kids down to like 6, 7, 8 years old, up to senior citizens in their 70s, and people look at it and they think it's an extreme skill sport, where it's really not. It's a bit of balance, but it can be used for pretty much everybody.
What kind of competitions do you compete in with the SUP?
So for me, it's a little bit outside the box. General races, West Coast, are about 2 to 12 miles, some in that range. So mine range anywhere. I do some of those lower ones, but I go up to 300, 400 miles. So I'm an ultra distance racer. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of way outside the box.
And what do people say when you enter certain competitions and you have a, SUP?
Just walking with it, the comments like, hey, look at this guy showing up with a surfboard. Just the jokes, kind of but in the beginning, 2011, 2012, I got laughed at. Like, people just didn't take it seriously until that big race. There was 117 competitors. I was the only stand-up paddleboarder, and I placed 34th out of the whole field, and it really kind of changed things a little bit.
So where would you like to see this sport in the future?
Pretty much like what I see with stand-up paddleboarding, it's so accessible. I would like it to be kind of equivalent to like a bicycle. It's very easy to put on the back of your vehicle or top of your vehicle, just like a bike would be on the back. But I would like to see it spread that much because, like I said, it is virtually for just about anyone to do.
It's becoming much more popular. Why do you think the world is now catching on to this?
Well, I think a lot of it is the transportation one. Instead of loading a big bulky kayak, you have a small, looks like a surfboard, loads real easily, it's real portable, it's easy to carry. They're 30 pounds or so or under. It's just the access, the ease of access to get it to a location, walk right down to a lake, pop it in, and go paddle.
Tell me, as an instructor, what process you go through in teaching people.
For me personally, as soon as they show up, everything's on land to begin with. We start the education process right there on the beach. It's basically teaching them how to size a paddle, explaining about the board, explaining about the technique, a little bit of how you get on and off the board, and that's just the beginning. It's about 10 minutes or so. Then we do an on-water demo, and then we go right towards the instruction. But it's a slow pace, so it's about an hour and 45 minutes, so it's just in doses as we go.
And are people kind of reluctant at the beginning?
When the class starts, it's very quiet. It's like anyone questions, and it's like crickets. And it's after they get out there and they first stand, about 5-10 minutes go by, they realize, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought. And then people get a little more chatty about it.
Okay, now tell me more about the business.
So the business end of it, SUP St. Louis, I kind of just, it happened after I did that big race. Then everyone started coming to me, hey, where can we do this? How can we do this? And there was nothing here in St. Louis. And so I literally started with 5 boards just to kind of take people out. And then the demand just grew and grew. And now, we're up to a fleet of about 23 boards, and we're still got to bring more boards in because it's growing so rapidly.
Shane, thank you for all of this information, and thank you for joining us. You did a very good job today.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
To learn more about SUP St. Louis and all it has to offer, visit supstlouis.com or call 636-346-7473. There's more STL TV Live coming up right after this.